Today, I'm going to show you how to make the spotted lanternfly trap and how to catch them and dispose of them to save any number of plants. In my case, it is my grapevines up here. Hi, I'm Todd with Great Escape Farms, and as I said, today we're going to talk all about spotted lanternflies. We're going to talk about how to make the trap, how to catch them. We are going to go over their life cycle, how many eggs they lay, approximate number of male and female, and how you can, for one, save things like your grapevines, which I started a little late, so I lost my grapes, but my grapevines will do okay, and some other things. So let's get started. There are three main methods to catch, kill, control, whatever spotted lanternflies that I'm aware of. I'm sure there's many more out there. So first one, a friend of mine local here suggested was the 45% vinegar solution. You basically put it in a bottle, you spray it on. I believe it gets diluted, but this scorched earth, it's gonna kill anything it touches, including assassin bugs and other beneficial bugs, bees, anything else. So this is, if they're clustered together and I'm mainly killing them, I'll do this, and that's mainly in the fall, right as they're mating and getting ready to lay eggs, because that's when they really cluster together in a group. Next one, this is from the Blair County Conservation District in Pennsylvania, and they were giving these out at a pawpaw festival. And this is primarily for catching nymphs. When they fall off the tree and they're starting to crawl back up a tree, they get into this trap and they can't get out. So that is what that's for. The whole purpose of today's video, though, is to talk about what to do during the main months of the summer, when they're not all clustered together, they're just going around and they're eating your plants, and that is to go around on a regular basis and catch them and dispose of them that way. So let's talk spotted lanternfly life cycle. So they start out with eggs that hatch in the April to June timeframe approximately, and that makes them the first instar, as it's known. And then in June or July, they kind of shed and they become a second instar. And then June, July timeframe, they become a third instar. And in the July to September timeframe, they become the fourth instar. So this is the last time that you see them as instar, and they are kind of a reddish color. Real neat looking bugs. If it weren't for all the damage that they cause. Then they become adults, where they get the wings and they're kind of gray on the top with polka dots on them with red underneath of their wings. And this is considered the adult stage, and that happens basically July through December. And they start laying eggs from September to December. And this is the time when you'll see them swarming around. You'll find a lot of them together. So that's a good time to catch a bunch of them right there. Okay, let's talk spotted lanternfly math. According to online sources and a course that I went to, it says that approximately 50% of the spotted lanternflies are male versus female. And each female lays between 50 and 150 eggs. The first month, we captured 1,950 lanternflies and nymphs, kind of a combination of the two. More lanternflies because of where we're at. Earlier in the season, it would be more nymphs than lanternflies, the full-grown adults. The assumptions. We are going to assume across a large population of females that they lay on average 100 eggs. That's just the center of between 50 and 150. So I have no science to back this up. I just needed an average, so that's what I went with, was 100. So based on the current consistent run rate, which is 75 lanternflies every other day, we can assume that I'm catching, minus the first month, but in follow-on months, 1,125 moths each month. So let's do some math. So 1,950 lanternflies the first month divided by 2 gives us 975 females. 975 females would lay approximately 97,500 eggs the first month. And again, this is based on the assumptions above. So follow-on months, we have 1,125 assumed run rate per month, assuming that that is consistent. Divided by 2 gives us 562.5 females, times 100 eggs each gives us 56,250 per month. And if we captured from May through October with the above rates, that would give us 97,500 for May, 56,250 per month from June through October, which means that we prevented 378,750 eggs from being laid. A lot of assumptions here. And one thing I will point out, having been through this cycle for the last couple of years, is the month of latter part of September, early October, they actually swarm. So these numbers could go up by a lot if I go to the spots where I know that they will swarm and if I can eliminate some there. So it absolutely does make a difference if you catch and dispose of spotted lanternflies. So the math definitely shows it's something you can do to help protect your plants and our environment from this invasive species. Some of the damage that the spotted lanternflies cause are they have like almost drill bits for tongues or mouths, if you will, and they actually go into the leaves and the stems of different plants, and they seem to like fruit trees. So this is a grapevine, and they definitely go after that. So not only do they go into the actual stems themselves, but they've also gone into some fruit up here, and I ended up losing all of my grape crop this year because of them going into the actual grapes themselves. I'll show you some better shots of the stems. These are just brown right here. Some of that is from damage, some of it is just because they're starting to get older, but I have a pretty good example on the other side of what it looks like with their straw-like mouths going in and sucking the juice out of the stem on the other side. So here's one example of the damage they cause. I don't have that much recent damage to show because I've been picking at them, but this is scarred right here. Some of the other issues that we have is that when these were first done, it actually did cause the sap and stuff to leak down onto the leaves, and for one, it drains the plant's energy, but also you end up with fungus and stuff like that growing on the leaves and on the actual stems themselves, and it's just bad all the way around. Plants aren't meant to be bleeding and bleeding out and having issues all along. You see there's some other stems in here. Pardon the background noise, that's a guinea that I have that's coming over and wants me to move so she can lay an egg. But definitely causes some issues in here. Another thing it does is with all the sweet juices coming out of plants, especially fruit plants and grapevines like this, is it attracts bees and stuff. So that makes it difficult and not really dangerous, but painful if you get stung while you're trying to catch them, trying to catch the spotted lanternflies, because if you disturb a bee, yeah, they're likely going to come and get you. And I think they're hornets actually, but yellow jackets are one of the main issues I have out here, the bees with attitude. Okay, here are some of the stages that I got. So have a small nymph there. This is the third stage, I can tell by all the red, and then this is the adult right here, and this guy was frozen. Don't know if you can see, but there is red under his wing here. But as you're going around and you're hunting them, you can actually see them, the polka dots there, and they try to move away from you, so you'll see them moving around a good bit. But anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and use this frozen guy here to show you how to catch them, because I got as good of video footage as I could, but it's very, very difficult with them moving around and having a cameraman behind you not getting the same angle that I'm seeing. Okay, this guy looks a little bit squashed, and I'm sorry about that, but I had to actually tape him on here to show what's going on. They will jump and take flight, and they'll go up and out in this direction right here. So this is his head. So if you put your hand over in front of him like that, usually, unless there's an absolute bad issue, he's not going to jump. If he does, he's going to hit your hand. If, however, you come up from behind and as soon as he sees you with his eyes, he jumps, he has free access, and he goes. I've tried going at him, and if I'm in a bad spot and I go at it with 2 fingers, it manages to jump off to the side. But for the most part, it is coming out in this direction. So how does that help you when you're trying to catch them? What I do is I put my hand over in front of them, and they don't like that. So they will turn themselves around so that they have good access to get away. And what that does is once they are upside down like this, I can put my container under him, and then I touch his wings. So when he's down like that, I go at him and I touch his wings right here on both sides, and then it jumps. It's a reflexive action, and even though it knows that it's going to go in this container, it jumps. A lot of times it will go right down in the hole there. Other times it will go on the side, and if I just bump it a little, he'll go down, and sometimes I have to put my hand down and put him down there. But that's how I catch him. I'm gonna show you some video. I don't have awesome footage. It's just very, very difficult to get the footage of showing that, but I will show you that in one moment here. That's up next. There's a good shot of the red under his wings. For my solution here, I just put a splash of dish detergent in, and I'll fill it up maybe 1/5 of the way, like so. So the dish detergent breaks the, I don't know if it's called viscosity or what, but it allows the bugs to actually sink in and not be able to float on the top. So this is ready to go. Put the funnel on top, and I'm ready to catch. So there's one right up here, and what I got to try to do is get in front of it and send it down. And then if I touch it on both sides, it jumps, and it went right, oh, there he is right there. And I push them on down in. And once they go down in the water, they can't get out. So there was another one in here. Okay, got him facing down, and he went right on in front of it. He should go down right there, and then if I touch him, he jumps in, and he went right on in. There's actually 2 of them here, but
there he is.
So on
flick
this
him?
one,
Want me to flick him?
No, you can't. So if you get in front of them, you can sometimes get them and squash them like that. So I actually got that guy. I'm gonna just add him in. Go up in front of him and try to get him facing down and get him to jump in. So if you put your fingers in front of him, now if I touch him on both sides, he'll jump down. Oh, he's gonna let me catch him.
Look at that.
Got him. There's trouble down there. And he fell in. And I'm gonna go and get him to hop right in here. And he went right in and down into the water. So I've been catching them for 2 days. Remove the top here. And they sat in here overnight, and I have 75 adults and 2 nymphs in 2 days. So that's way down from my first day. My first day I caught 300 in 1 day alone. Second day was 150, and the numbers are going down, but I will keep hunting every day. This is less damage to happen to my grapevines, and also it is going to greatly reduce the number of bugs I have around next year, I hope. So anyhow, after they sit over at least overnight in this container, then I go ahead and I just dump them into the landscape here because they are definitely dead. This is the container I just emptied, so I rinsed it out real quick and I'll let it dry, and I don't know if it actually helps, but to me it helps so the container itself doesn't get to stinking. And I went ahead, I always have a spare one ready to go, so I just filled it up with water and I'm ready to go and catch bugs for today. Time to make a trap. This is based on my experience growing up, so we're talking 50 years ago, when we used to have bug catchers, and it was nothing more than a funnel up on top that went down to a narrow neck, and then you had a larger space underneath. And once you got bugs in there, it was very difficult for them to get out. Not impossible, but difficult. But you did have a lid for the funnel to hold them in. So we're working off of that concept, and basically what we want to do is funnel them, and this was the best way I found to make one right here. Again, I'll get in details in just a minute, but the funnel itself with lanternflies, it's a long one, and that's great because it kind of aims them down towards the center hole here. And if they're trying to get out they generally jump up at an angle, so they would hit the side. They wouldn't be able to jump straight out in most cases. So this is perfect for lanternflies. And then you have a narrow neck and you have a larger container underneath. What I've generally done is put soap water in there, and that prevents them from crawling out. So two simple things are what's needed, plus tools here to make this. So it's just a simple candy jug, and I have multiple different ones. This one is, what is this one? This one is Raisinets from Kirkland. The original one here is M&M. So again, brand doesn't matter, just some kind of container down there. It could be a mayonnaise jar, whatever. And with a flat lid up here on top. And then some kind of a large clear, and you don't want opaque or anything else. You kind of want clear so you can see what's going on and see where the bugs are. In this case, they are Hawaiian punch containers. Again, brand doesn't matter as long as it's long and narrow. So at a high level, what we will do is we will cut a hole in here with a hole saw consistent with this size, just a slightly bigger. So I want it bigger than this, so the threads come in, and I want to be able to use the cap to hold the container on, and I'll show you that in a minute. So let's see. And then I just took a razor knife and cut along the bottom there. So at a high level, that's what we're doing. And this allows me to empty the water in and out. So I just remove this and I can empty. As a matter of fact, let me show you that. I have one over here ready to go. So this one I can empty out. These guys have been here for a couple days, so I just toss that in the landscape, and if anything else eats them, fine. If the ground consumes them and the bacteria get them, then fine, good to go. So tools of the trade are a drill. We have a hole saw. I have a razor knife, and the razor is for cutting the top off here. And I have a pair of diagonal cutters or wire cutters here. I have a pocket knife here. I'll make an X here, and then I'll cut all the way around, but I want to leave this as close to intact as possible, the sides of it anyhow, because this is what's going to hold the top part on. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is make our big hole. Okay, I purposely went very slow on that, just to go slow and easy, so I didn't have anything tilting or going the wrong way on me. We're going to go ahead and cut this handle off. I got this rim that held the cap on. Cut that off. Take our lid. Look at that, we're perfect. We go right on in there. So our cap will hold it on. The issue is we need to remove this top part here, the top, so that we can actually let bugs go in. So I do this with my knife because I have a little more control of it over what I would a razor blade. And I'm going to push through one side and here on the other. And what I'm going to do is make an X or a plus. So it's like that, just like an X. And that will allow me to take my cutters in. So then I'm just going around and I'm taking the cutters and cutting just the top, trying not to cut the sides at all. Okay, and we are cut out. That's what we look like here. And from the inside, we will shoot stuff right on in. And I guess now is when I need to cut this piece. Okay, so we are open, and that is how we make our bug catcher. So I will go ahead and soak this in water and just to get this sticker off, but that's something I can do on the side. Empty the trash out here. Don't forget, like I showed you earlier in the video, go ahead and fill this up, or put a little bit of soap in here and then fill it about, I don't know, a quarter of the way up with water. And at that point, you have a good bug catcher.